ठीक है. Hi guys, I'm Ashna. I'm a verified educator at an academy and I've been teaching on an academy since October 2016. And I have scored 125 plus in Prelims 2017 and I've even given mains this year. And today we are going to talk about the climate of India. Right, so this topic is very, very important. I have made a separate course on this. The course is on most important topics on Indian and world geography. So in total, there are going to be 15 sessions and each session is going to be of 90 minutes, under which we are going to comprehensively cover the entire Indian and world geography in detail. And you'll be getting personalized sessions under that, right? So today we are going to talk about a subtopic of this from this course only. Today we are going to talk about climate of India. As we know that you must have known that the climate of India, it is monsoon type, right? So it is monsoon type. And in fact, you can see the overall unity in the general pattern of the monsoon type of climate, but there is diversity. So therefore, it has been said that apart from the unity, there is diversity in case of culture, then in case of languages also, and there is diversity in case of monsoon pattern. Why there is a diversity? I can explain you that. See what happens. You have seen that in Assam there was flood, and in Maharashtra there were drought last year, right? So Maharashtra was facing drought. So that's a kind of diversity. That's an example of diversity that at one place you are facing floods, at another one you are getting this drought. So that's the unity and diversity in terms of monsoon pattern. So therefore, you can say that overall unity is there in the general pattern, but there is presence of diversity. So there are perceptible regional variations in climate, and these regional variations, you can always use that word in place of these regional variations, diversity in the monsoon pattern. So this was important, and therefore one thing very, very important that you have to know is that these regional variations there are in terms of temperature, there are in terms of winds and rainfall. They are being followed by, first of all, temperature. Let's talk about that in detail. See, in the case of summer season, the mercury, it occasionally touches 55 degree in western Rajasthan, and it drops down to as low as minus temperature, minus 45 degrees Celsius of temperature in winter in Leh and Ladakh region. So you can see the diversity here, that 55 degrees Celsius is there in Rajasthan, and in fact this minus 45 degree in Leh and Ladakh. But then in general, if you see in the coastal areas, then only you can experience that there is a less contrast in terms of temperature. There are different temperature conditions in the coastal areas if compared to the other areas of the country. Then seasonal contrasts are there that are more in the interior of the country. So that is another thing that you have to remember. Then apart from that, in certain places, there is a wide difference between day and night, like that of in the Thar Desert. If you see the day temperature, it may rise to 50 degrees Celsius and it may drop down to near freezing point, and at the same night we are talking about in Thar Desert. So this is the wide difference between day and night in terms of temperature. So do read about these variations, the day and night variations in temperature, as well as the latitude wise or longitude wise temperatures of this differences, right? Then regarding the winds and the rainfall, then you should know about this, that similar variations are noticeable not only in the amount of precipitation, but also in the type of precipitation the country is getting. As you know, the annual precipitation in Meghalaya, that is far more than anywhere else. If you see in case of Rajasthan, so Meghalaya, the annual precipitation, the rainfall, it exceeds beyond this 1800 meters of that, right? 1,000 or up to that centimeters of that rainfall we are talking about. Then Ganga Delta and in fact the coastal plains of Odisha, so they are hit by strong rain bearing storms. And so this was the winds and rainfall variations. So do read about that in detail, because I have seen that in particular statements in the prelims examination, now the pattern is going on that examiner is going for the analytical things. So you should know your concepts clearly. You should know each detail of these topics clearly. So let's talk about the factors that influence the Indian climate. So the first factor that influence the Indian climate is location and its latitudinal extent. See, the Tropic of Cancer, we know that it passes through India from the middle of the country, it cuts through. And so you must know whenever you are looking at Tropic of Cancer or through which state it is passing through, right? So you should know that in total there are 8 states. And in fact, the southern parts, they are being closer to the equator. So since they are closer to the equator, they experience high temperatures throughout the year. As we know that the tropic receives most of the heat from the sun, right? So such concepts you need to check upon when you are discussing, when you are reading about these topics. Even with your friends, when you are discussing, always keep on asking such things, because that will make you remember all of the stuff, even small details, even the small factual things regarding the geography section. Then the northern part, we know that it lies above. India is currently, it is all of the country that is above the equator. So it lies in the northern hemisphere, right? So the northern parts of the country, they are lying in the warm temperate zone, and they experience low temperature, particularly in the winter. It is because it is part of the interior also. So there are other kind of variations in that. Then another factors that influence Indian climate is the distance of that place from the sea, right? So this distance, regarding the distance of that, areas that are near the coastal areas, so they have moderating influence of sea. On the contrary, if you see the interior of that, so they are deprived of the same, and in fact they experience extreme or continental climate. So this is for the distance from the sea. If a place is distant from the sea, then in terms of now, another is the northern mountain ranges. That is another factor that influences the Indian climate. And these northern mountain ranges we are talking about, so these ranges, they protect India from the bitter cold. So these cold waves, they are coming from Siberia, so it protects from them. And in fact, these dry winds from the Central Asia during the winter season, they further these mountains, they act as a effective physical barrier. So they block these cold waves. And in fact, for the rain bearing southwest monsoon also, they are being blocked by the northern mountain ranges only. So they bring rainfall in the entire Indian country. So this was regarding this, the northern mountain ranges. Then another factor, let's discuss that. So another factor is physiography. And regarding the physiography, that you should know that the physical features of it influence the air temperature, in fact the atmospheric pressure and the direction of winds and the amount of rainfall. All of these affects a little in different parts of the country. So physiography, that is another factor that influences the Indian climate. Then another one is the monsoon winds. See, there is a complete reversal in the direction of winds in India, and that brings about a sudden change in seasons. And we know that there is a harsh summer season, and in fact this harsh summer season, it gives away this eagerly awaited monsoon or rainy season around the month of June and July. And these winds, they have such a far reaching influence on the India's climate that it is termed as monsoon type of climate. Then now let's talk about another factor that has been influencing the India's climate, and that is western disturbances and tropical cyclones. See, whatever factors I'm telling you right now, you should know all of these factors in the particular terms that I'm using. Some of the students are saying that you know these are very tough and I am not able to get it, but you have to remember there is a reason why I'm using only these terms and not using long sentences, because while you're writing your means answer, you have to use such terms. These are the geographical terms that you should use while you're writing, so as to get an edge. Only then an examiner will know that okay, you have read the geography section quite well and you know all of the terms that are there given by the scientific communities, and so try to use these terms only. So now let's talk about the western disturbances and tropical cyclones. See, the inflow of western disturbances which move under the influence of westerly jet streams. So they come from the Mediterranean Sea. So Mediterranean Sea is near Europe, right? It's below the European countries. And from there, these westerly jet streams come, and basically they influences winter weather of the country. They influences winter conditions in India over most part of the northern plains and the western Himalayan region also. Then the tropical cyclones, they also develop in the Bay of Bengal. You must have heard about so many cyclones that have hit India, and the frequency and the direction of these cyclones, they influence the weather conditions during the southwest monsoon also. So over most part of India and along the eastern coast during retreating monsoon season, they are being affected. So this was regarding the tropical cyclones and western disturbances. That is another factor. Then another factor that influences Indian climate, very, very important. Please take note of this. You should know about this phenomena in detail, and that is the El Nino effect. So weather conditions in India, they are also influenced by El Nino. So El Nino, it is, this El Nino condition, I have discussed about that in detail in very simpler terms and everything with the diagrams and all. I have discussed that in my course on most important topics on Indian and world geography. So if you want to know more about this, the course link is given in the subscription, in the description, and you can subscribe to that course. In the description link, the course link is given. So you should know about this El Nino effect. See, weather conditions in India, they are influenced by the El Nino, I have told, and this causes widespread floods in the country. It is the main cause of droughts also in tropical regions of the world. And in fact, this warming of tropical Pacific waters, it affects the global pattern of pressure and in fact, the wind system. It includes the basically monsoon winds, and in fact in the Indian Ocean that is influencing, and it is believed that at time in 1987 in India, it brought the severest drought that was caused by this El Nino. So do read about this El Nino in detail. This is very, very important. So this was regarding the factors influencing the Indian climate. Now let's talk about the seasons of India. So you should know that there is this winter season, summer season, right? So winter season, this starts by late November, and it represents clear skies. There are clear skies in winter season, fine weather is there, and in fact low humidity and temperature is there, and there are large daytime variations of temperature in winter season. And the cold air mass that is extending from the Siberian region, from the above the cold air mass that extends from the Siberian region, that has profound influence on the Indian subcontinent during these winter months we are talking about. So the main air temperature that usually increase from north to south. So that is how it is influencing. And the mean temperature, they can vary from 14 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius from north to south in the month of January. And in fact, what happens, the rains during this season, they generally occur in the Western Himalayas and in the extreme northeastern parts of Tamil Nadu also in the winter season we are talking about, and Kerala. So Western disturbances, they the associated trough with it in the westerlies, they are the main this rain bearing system in north and eastern parts of the country. So this was regarding the winter season. Now let's talk about the summer season. So the temperature that increases in the summer season all of the country in March and in April. And in fact, the interior parts of the peninsula, it records mean daily temperature of around 30 to 35 degrees Celsius. And central Indian mass, that becomes hot with daytime maximum temperature reaching about 40 degrees Celsius at many places in the country. Then many places in Gujarat and everywhere else like near Maharashtra, Rajasthan, in the western part we are talking about of the country. So many places near that, they exhibit high daytime and low nighttime temperatures. So you should know these variations of temperatures so this is in the summer season. The maximum temperature that rises sharply, exceeding 45 degrees Celsius of that by the end of May and early June, resulting in the harsh summers in the north and northwest regions of the country. So, however, the weather, it remains mild in coastal areas. Again, I'm repeating, the weather in the coastal areas, they are mild, and this is because of the influence of land and sea breezes. So do read about the land and sea breezes. So the season is characterized by cyclonic storms, which are intense low pressure system over the hundreds to thousands of kilometers, associated with surface winds more than 33 knots, you can say that, near the Indian Sea. So visually it is near the Bay of Bengal and near the Arabian Sea. And these systems, these cyclonic disturbances we are talking about, so they move towards a northwesterly direction. And in fact, some of them curve to the northerly or northeasterly path, right? So this was regarding the summer season. And then do read about the local winds or the hot weather season. That is, the mango showers are there, cherry blossom. Do read about Kal Baisakhi and Lu, of course. So Lu is nothing but the hot and dry winds. They are accompanied with the dust winds, and they blow frequently over the plains of northwest India. So Lu is basically around that region. So these Lus, they are oppressive in nature, and they blow in the northern plains from Punjab to Bihar. And in fact, with higher intensity between Delhi and Patna. Then do read about southwest monsoon season. I'm not talking about that in detail because that I have included in my course. Right, so northeast monsoon season also, do read about it, how this influences and in what areas it is going to bring the rainfalls. Like northeast, it brings most of this rainfall in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Right, so this was regarding this video, guys. Thank you very much. I hope you have liked this. And this was a very short description regarding the climate of India. And in fact, if you want to study more about this in detail with maps and everything, with the locations and everything, then you can always subscribe to my course. 2 days are left for that, and under which we are going to comprehensively cover the Indian and world geography. The course link is available in the description, so you can subscribe to that. And you can also visit my Unacademy profile, where on the top left corner, the link to this course is available. So you can always visit on Unacademy profile on this name. My name is Ashna. So you can visit there. So this is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much. I hope you have liked this lesson. And please try to keep this in mind, these terms that I have used, and try to see the phenomena that is there behind that. And you should know the clarity regarding this. I have not included this in this session because of the reason that it will eat a lot of time here. So this is going to be a very short live session, and that is why I couldn't teach you the exactly the phenomena, how they work, like the Indian dipole system and of course the El Nino effect, right? So do read about it, and I hope your prelims goes well. So thank you very much.